And welcome everybody to the I am blanking
103.
103rd episode. Thank you. Wow. Of the Fact Is podcast. We're your host, Nate Moses.
And I'm Ryan Mays.
Welcome everybody. Thank you all for being patient with us with our hiatus last week. Of course, it was Thanksgiving. We wanted to make sure everybody had time with their families, got to enjoy it. How about you all, gentlemen? Did you enjoy time with your family and those that you cared about and whatnot?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time. I truly enjoyed Thanksgiving. Stuart, how about you? Did you enjoy it?
Yep.
Fantastic.
I found out that I have like the world's greatest turkey call. You want to hear it?
Kind of.
You want to hear it, Stu?
Yes. That's why we have them.
Yeah, that's why we have them.
That and the hat. So what else am I going for?
That was awesome. Oh, wow, that was great. Well, welcome everybody. Like I said, thank you all for allowing us to have that hiatus. Of course, we've been posting plenty of content in the meantime, making sure that we are keeping you all up to date with all the beautiful worldly activities that have been happening around. So, it's been a bit of a shit show, of course, but when is it not? So, yeah, fun times. Yeah, exactly. So, it was a fantastic week. Really enjoyed the holiday, and of course we'll probably do another hiatus coming up around Christmas time. It's potential. Christmas is on a weekend, so we might be a little more lenient with that one. We should be all right with that one.
And then the Wednesday after.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too
on
bad.
Sunday. It shouldn't be bad. We should be able to do that.
That's right.
Bring your
Christmas is on
sweaters.
Sunday this year. Yeah, bring the ugly Christmas sweaters.
Oh,
We'll
bro,
have to do a
I've
Christmas
got one.
podcast episode.
I've
Do
got
you?
one.
I don't have one yet. I need to get one.
Oh, dude. It's awesome.
I have a pretty bad
You want to hear what it is?
kind of.
It's
Well, now save it. If you're bringing it to the podcast, you gotta save it.
Except
Did y'all hear that?
yeah. Isn't that cool?
That is pretty cool. You need to bring that. But yeah, so got some Jesus.
Sorry, we're a little silly.
Yeah, but anyways, let's move forward a little bit. Before we even start all this, I just kind of want to start with like a premeditated conversation, not involving any of the articles or anything of that nature. But did you all? Please tell me you all saw Kanye West walk out of Tim Pool's episode the other day. Did you all see that? I know we were talking about it a little bit.
It was on Monday, right?
It was on Monday, I believe. Yeah.
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 It was funny.
It's kind of funny.
He
doesn't like being challenged. At all.
And he wants to run for president.
Yeah. Actually, he is running for president in 2024. I think he's already declared
he actually makes it to a debate stage, and somebody says, "Yay,
bro,
how do you feel about Jewish people?" Is he gonna just walk off?
Immediately over.
He just rips the mic off and drops it, and then walks away.
That's pretty funny.
But he handled that like a child.
No, 100%.
Absolutely like a child.
Yeah, all Tim Pool was trying to figure out was deeper explanation as to what he was really trying to say, and that's all he wanted. So the fact that Kanye just walked off with that, little bit of frustration is kind of whack.
A little bit of frustration.
Well, a lot of frustration.
Apparently, he was a lot of bit frustrated.
Oh yeah. But he was pissed.
Now I do also, if you go back and you watch the entire episode up until he walked off, I can understand a little bit of his frustration, but not to the point where he walks off the show.
Right, exactly.
Tim did set him up for a couple of kind of harder, not necessarily harder hitting, but didn't frame it the best, I would say. I think, and Tim's usually really good about that, but maybe because he had Ye on, he was just trying to be a little more controversial.
See, I'm the kind of guy, though, personally, if you ask me a question and I don't understand it to the full extent, I'd just be like, sorry, man, let me come back to that. I can sit here and research while you're talking or whatever, but I don't understand it, or, let me come back to it.
I'm the kind of guy, I'm like, oh, I don't understand that. Can you explain it?
Yeah, exactly. So,
when they explain it, I'm like, I still don't understand. Can you explain it like I'm a 5-year-old?
Hey, that's how you got to address things sometimes. I think that's the best way, personally.
Because you know what it does?
Why make things complicated?
It forces the person who's trying to put you in an awkward position to explain their position.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people are good at explaining their position. Now, Tim Pool absolutely would be able to explain his position.
Right.
But there's so many better ways he could have handled that.
Something that I love, too, personally, I've one of the biggest sayings I've ever heard is, until you can explain it fully to a 5-year-old, you don't truly understand that process either.
There you go.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's kind of resonated with me my entire life. So until I fully comprehend it and am able to explain it as if you are a child, then I'm not going to sit there and even try.
Well, I mean, we have a saying in sales called KISS.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it simple and stupid. Because if you don't, then general population, like the people you're trying to sell to, don't know as much about your product as you do.
Yeah, exactly.
So you always have to dumb it down.
Like, keep it simple.
For that person who comes in and they understand, you know, the inner workings of whatever it is that I'm selling, then I can get a little more technical with that person if they ask for it. But for the most part, I talk to people like they're 5 years old.
Right, and you know, it's not even like a disrespectful kind of connotation or anything. It's simply just, I'm trying to make you understand to the degree that I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I like that.
You know, like I said, if people want to get more technical, we get more technical.
Yeah.
But
Beautiful.
and then I have another saying in sales, and I apply to this one, but I don't know if everybody does. It's called CASE.
Mm-hmm.
Copy and steal everything.
I've never heard that one.
Oh yeah. Because if somebody else is doing something really well, you want to copy and steal exactly what they're doing.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, you always want to copy number one.
Now,
But
you don't steal from people. You don't, steal or in the
actual like copyright infringement thing.
Yeah. But it's if you see something that's working for someone else, you copy and steal that.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah,
Good
man.
saying. So, beautiful. Well,
Done me well in life so far, boys.
I'd say so. So, well, welcome everybody. Thanksgiving is over. Moving on to the next holiday, Christmas. Hope you all enjoyed our little Christmas theme song that we had playing in the beginning. For those of you on TikTok, sorry you couldn't hear it. It was beautiful.
I could sing it.
I don't think we're gonna start singing Christmas carols.
You don't want me singing. I'll do it though.
I believe you.
I'm fearless.
You do have a beautiful voice.
No, I don't.
I've heard you singing when
Not
we're
when it
playing
comes to
ball.
singing. Now I can hit a mean Rick Astley, but outside of that, not much.
Oh, that's funny. All right, let's move forward. Let's talk about our first topic of the day, which none other than Ukraine. Ukraine welcomes arms offers, no word on Patriot missiles. U.S. Secretary of State and Antony Blinken on Wednesday condemned Russia's weeks-long assault on Ukraine's power grid and other infrastructure as an attempt to freeze and starve its people, with the war-torn country's foreign minister renewing a call for advanced missile systems. Blinken spoke after a meeting with his NATO counterparts in Bucharest, Romania, devoted in part to coordinating aid to keep the lights and furnaces on in Ukraine, where Russian strikes have damaged much of the country's electrical infrastructure. Russia has bombed out more than a third of Ukraine's energy system, plunging millions into darkness as frigid temperatures set in heat, water, electricity for children, for the elderly, for the sick. They are President Vladimir Putin's new targets. These are Putin's new targets. He's hitting them hard. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has underscored that his country's biggest needs now are electrical gear and more advanced air defense systems than it has so far received from the U.S. and other allies to stop Russia from bombing its grid in the first place.
Preferably ones that don't go errand and land in Poland.
Land on your own buildings. The best way to help Ukrainian energy system is to provide both spare parts to restore the energy system and air defense systems and ammunition to defend Ukraine's energy system from further missile terror conducted by Russia. So, you pretty much get the gist of what this is. It's pretty insane that, and I mean, again, it is war, that they are actually going after the civilian population, which I shouldn't say necessarily insane because we've seen it in war over and over again. This is just history repeating itself. When and even to America's fault, what we did when we finally had enough of Japan and we were tired of them dragging on the war, we went after their civilians and we went after two of their biggest cities with two of our most destructive weapons that have ever been created on this earth. So, it's not a surprise to see that Russia is actually bombing the infrastructure, trying to take out the supply of electric heat, trying to attack the civilian population, because once your civilian population gives up, they're going to lose. Ukraine right now is thriving off the fact that Russia is invading their land and their people are stepping up to the fight. It's not just their military, it's their people as well.
now they've moved into more of like a war of attrition at this point.
Yeah.
How long can Ukraine and their people
Hold out.
withstand the Russian onslaught?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, unless they get a lot of support, I don't think it's going to be very long.
I mean, America's done sent how many billions? Over 100 billion at this point, right?
I think we're at 93 billion.
Are we at 90? Okay.
If Joe Biden's 37 billion request went through.
Okay.
And
Well, either way,
I don't know if that did or not.
$40 billion is a lot of money, too. Now, granted, I understand with your infrastructure constantly getting blown up, how to repair that during war times. You know, I'm sure it's difficult beyond what we even comprehend.
Yeah.
But it's still, the amount of money we've been sending is insane. And where the rest of NATO is, I have no idea.
You know, what's crazy is if you look at this administration and what they've accomplished so far, we left, 85 billion in Iraq or in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And then now we've sent, 93 billion
Yeah.
to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're 0-2 right now in military operations.
Yeah. what, and this is where it kind of gets difficult for me because I am like one of those people who advocates, strongly against China. You know, I hate how they are treating their people, and obviously we'll be able to talk about that a little later because insanity at what's happening over there right now. The amount of people that are rioting, saying take down the CCP, crazy numbers. But
even crazy numbers in China are still like a fraction of the population.
Exactly. But what's hard for me is like I want to justify being able to try to help the people in China, but also how can I say that but not want to help the people in Ukraine who are trying to stay free, right? But there's so much corruption in Ukraine too. You know, we've seen a lot of stuff with Zelensky and the Biden administration and Hunter Biden and all these things coming out that a lot of people don't understand right now. So, until we get to those facts.
Do you think that Hunter is hanging out in Ukraine right now? And like Zelensky gets off of like a press meeting and he's got the bulb ready to go? Is that too risky? Sorry. YouTube's coming after us on that one.
That's a great question.
I mean, it does. And especially now, like a lot of this stuff is actually really coming to the surface about, the Biden's operations in Ukraine.
Right.
And it just so happens that with that, a war breaks out in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And now we're sending billions of dollars, unaudited dollars, to Ukraine.
Yeah. Now, I know most of it has been, if I'm not mistaken, in equipment and ammunitions and things of that nature, but I'm sure they've handed some straight cash.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how this plays.
People to put that stuff in place.
Yeah, exactly. The supply chain to move it all over there to be able to get everything.
I'm completely speculating here,
Yeah.
but I just get really upset about it because, you got people like Elizabeth Warren who's saying, ooh, $11 billion would solve world hunger. Well, we just sent $100 billion to Ukraine, and we left $85 billion worth in Afghanistan.
Or they're pressuring Elon to, donate it all. And
we know you just paid, $10 billion in taxes, but you're not paying your fair share.
But I also, I don't remember if you all remember this. Remember when Elon actually, I believe he tweeted it out.
And he was
said,
show me where to go.
Show me where the money's going, and I will do it right now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember that.
And she just, 9/11. I mean, come on. It's getting ridiculous here. We've got so many people in this country who are homeless, who don't have jobs, who are starving to death. Children are starving to death in our country, and we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars elsewhere.
Yep.
What if we, implemented those hundreds of billions here to help feed those people or help house those people or do something for our own people that are here, or even take care of some of the immigrants who come across the border legally. You know what I mean? Like help them get a start, because at the rate that the boomer generation is dying off, we are not reproducing at the same
Nearly
rate.
at the
so
same
our
rate.
population is starting to fall,
Yeah,
which can cause huge economic problems.
We did hit 8 billion worldwide finally, but the trends are showing that we are going down. We're not having as many children
especially
anymore.
here in the United States.
Especially in the United States.
With those, we need immigration.
Yeah.
Legal immigration.
Yeah,
we need that.
I agree with that.
And so, if that's the case, then why aren't we allocating those funds, our tax dollars to go towards things that help our people.
Yeah, you know,
Like,
when
everybody's out here praying for Ukraine, pray for U.S.
Yeah,
Like, what are
we're
we
struggling
doing?
too. We're struggling too, honestly. And you know, we had a little bit of a conversation before this episode with how social media has become such an influence in our country. I do truly believe that foreign countries have started to seep into our social medias. They've seeped in. I mean, even Elon Musk tweeted out today that there was Twitter interference in our elections. He didn't say which way or what happened or anything. He just said that he knows that Twitter was used for interference within our elections. They are using our social medias to create destabilization within our country, whether it's on a social aspect, an economic aspect, however. And it's literally happening right in front of us. And there's proof. There's plenty of proof. All you got to do is look it up.
Well, I mean, what's the oldest rule in the book? Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer.
Yeah, you destroy a place from within.
Yeah, if you, especially us,
Yeah.
who have a larger defense budget than most countries have GDP.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you there's no way someone's going to take us on militarily and win that fight. I don't even think China could do it.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, China has a huge army, but by the time they get that army across that pond over there, they're not making it to Hawaii.
yeah, but if you're going man for man, like,
oh no, they outnumber us.
they outnumber us. But the problem is
But
we have more guns than they do.
Get them here. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
exactly.
saying. Like, if they're going to start sending boats of troops across the Pacific, those boats aren't making it to Hawaii.
And even then, if they started like paratrooping people in, good luck. We got more rifles in this country
Yeah, no joke.
than you
But
could ever
really,
imagine.
Like, as far away as we are from everyone, the only way that you could get into us would be Mexico or Canada.
Yep. Through our
And-
borders wise, yeah.
And you can't send massive amounts of troops across that because we're going to pick that up immediately.
I saw something too, Alaska. Apparently Alaska and like a Russian point are only a few
like 30
miles through the wild. Yeah, through the water, which
Yeah.
was interesting. I actually didn't know that, and
Yeah,
that's just me
That's
being
why
geographically
everybody was laughing
ignorant.
at Sarah Palin. She actually might be able to see Russia from her backyard.
Yeah, like if people don't understand
I don't think
that.
so because I think she lives in Anchorage, but I mean the point's still
We
there.
get the point. Yeah.
Why get up in the morning not see Russia?
That's funny.
Do you? Anyway,
So bringing it back
timers
full
off.
circle, Ukraine. You know, I do hope the best for Ukraine. I'm proud of that country for standing up and still being able to hold out against a superpower like Russia. So props to them. But any closing thoughts with you all and what's going on there?
Spend money in America.
That I can agree with.
It sucks that people are suffering because of Russia government.
Yeah, more government issues.
Again,
Yeah,
Zelensky on
Governments
this
are
side.
fighting and people suffer.
Yeah. Put Zelensky and Vladimir in a cage and let them duke it out to the
let them
death.
duke it out. Stop putting your people. Stop getting them involved.
Yeah.
But, you know, unfortunately, that's the way of the world. So, moving forward, let's talk about the World Cup. Because Qatar says 400 to 500 immigrant workers died due to the World Cup. Between 400 to 500 immigrant workers died as a result for their work for this year's World Cup. A Qatari official involved in the organization of the tournament told British journalist Piers Morgan in an interview that aired Tuesday. Why does this matter? The figure offered by Hassan Al-Tawadi, the Secretary General of Qatar's Supreme Committee of Delivery Legacy, is significantly higher than estimated previously offered by Qatar. Earlier reports from the Supreme Committee only took into account migrant workers' deaths related to building and refurbishing Qatar's new stadium and put the number of deaths at 43 from workplace incidents and 37 from non-work incidents such as heart attacks. Geez, they're working them people to literal death. What they're saying, so... do you know how many people have died in Qatar since you won the bid? In the last 12 years from any construction related to anything with the World Cup, Morgan asked, offering examples of new hotels or bridges. The estimated number is 400 to 500. That's a lot of people. You know, I know people get pissed off at OSHA, but like they are there for a reason.
I was
protect
literally
people,
getting
you know
ready
what
to say
I mean?
OSHA would be having a heyday. They'd be like, "Oh, you're not wearing your hard hat. That guy's having a heart attack. What are y'all doing?"
One death is too many, plain and simple, of course. The big picture, so Qatar's human rights abuse and lack of strong protections for migrant workers have been one of the largest controversies overshadowing this year's tournament. So, just well, we'll do this real quick. So, a 2021 report from The Guardian estimated that more than 6,500 migrant workers died in Qatar in the decade since the country won its hosting bid in 2010. So, there's that.
I mean, some of those are probably unavoidable. I mean, some people, like those heart attacks or whatnot.
Not much you can do about that.
Yeah, I mean, that.
Well, those.
But like 400 to 500, that's a lot. Go ahead, Stu.
He says 400 to 500, and then the Guardian estimated 6,500.
Well, over the past decade.
That's what she asked him.
Yeah, he said 400 to 500 since they won the bid 12 years ago.
Oh,
somebody's wrong.
Somebody's wrong. Now, I mean,
he probably lying.
And when you look at that, so here's
maybe he just doesn't have up to date facts.
He says right here, I don't have the exact number.
Stu over here, like, yep, he's full of it.
He's not following the fact is,
No, he's not following the fact is. Therefore, he's lying.
So I guess my biggest thing here is, so look at Qatar. I mean, obviously it's not right. But let's take these numbers over to China. How much worse are they going to be? We're sitting here giving Qatar hell. What about China? I mean, yeah, I can imagine the amount of people that are dying in China or Vietnam or any of these places that are also like slave labor induced, right? I can't imagine how many people are dying from that also.
Here's a hot take. Why don't we pull the number of kids who've died in Nike sweatshops in China over the last 10 years?
Because we probably don't have that realistic number.
Heck no.
We can't even get close to that. I mean, China doesn't allow us to know anything.
Exactly.
So, looking at Qatar, yeah, is it good? No, of course it's not good. And do we want to see people die? Of course we don't want to see people die.
No,
but
ever.
At the same time, let's focus on those that are all that are on a bigger scale. I say if we take down the giant, I don't know. This is tough because, again, it's that country. How are we going to police that country? Are we going to police? Are we going to continue to police the world? Is America going to continue to police the world? Or are we just going to start to focus on ourselves like we've talked about in years past? That's something that we really need to do. I think America needs to focus on America first. I love Donald Trump's logo, America first, or like make America great again. Right? Sure, I love it. But I'm sorry. You can't sit there and tell me that and then not work with American manufacturing and manufacture all your stuff out of China. Like you
can't.
He
almost said a bad word.
It gets me heated when people are
Would you
so
say
obsessed.
grind your gears.
In this segment of Grinds My Gears, I'm Peter Griffin.
Why they grinds my gears?
Seriously, like what just irks me the most is any politician that talks about, hey, we're over here endorsing for American manufacturing. Where are you with Origin? Where are you with Weber Grills? Where are you with these companies that are legit manufacturing every single bit of the materials, of the labor right out of America? Where are you sponsoring them, talking about them? You're not.
They're doing backdoor deals with Chinese.
China, Ukraine,
spies.
Russia, you name it.
What's that guy's name who's sleeping with the Chinese spy? He's out here talking about America manufacturing.
Yeah.
Let me go in the back
hang
room
out with
here.
this spy, this Chinese spy.
Swalwell, that's his name.
So yeah, so
That
for
guy.
me, it just I can't get over those kind of points because you're not truly for American manufacturing. If you were, you'd be out there talking to Jocko. You'd be out there talking to Peter.
Peter Griffin.
Peter.
He does have an American-made show. It grinds my gears.
Damn it. Forgive me. What's Pete's last name? Robertson, yeah.
There you go.
You'd be talking to these guys that are like, again, Origin, which is apparel, Weber Grills, which is pretty obvious, Weber Grills.
What about Craftsman? That'd be cool.
It's Pete Roberts.
Pete Roberts, okay, there you go. I mean, you'd be talking about these guys and you'd be wanting to set up deals with them. Hey, look, I want you to manufacture all of my clothing for my support, right? Like all my
stuff.
Yeah, as all my apparel, whether it be flags, whether it's tablecloths, which we still got to talk about, whether it's shirts,
We got good ideas
jeans, sweatshirts, hats, socks, underwear. It doesn't matter. It's all American made right here. So.
I'm currently wearing an American-made underwear.
There you go. I know. I mean, and props to you, Stu. Like, huge props to him. One of the things that he started to do is he started to transition away from anything manufactured in China.
I do my best.
And you do
it's
your
really
best.
It's really hard to do that.
It really is
It's like
hard.
trying to not eat sugar.
No, seriously, because everything out there. Yeah. I mean, you look at our grocery stores.
China.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do? What do you do? So it's so frustrating, but the fact that you're conscious and you're making an effort about it is what's good.
Yeah.
And not enough people do that. Bless.
Well, go ahead, Stu.
You know what this reminds me of? This car thing and World Cup is the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Beijing.
Just all these cities that build these stadiums and stuff, and they then once the Olympics is over, they're just abandoned.
Yeah. I mean, well, because it brings
shelters.
In.
Like, why couldn't they be homeless shelters?
What could you do with it is unlimited, but what they do with it, it's just like nothing.
What about the Olympics? Let's go back to that topic real quick. You remember back in the Olympics when they actually had the long jump for the skiers right beside a nuclear reactor? And they broadcast like Beijing 2020, like, and the rings and everything right there on the nuclear reactor. And like, if you didn't zoom out, it was like, oh, that's nice. Where'd they get that backdrop? Oh,
yeah, that was
interesting.
Pretty interesting. So I don't know, bringing it full circle with Qatar. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, it's not good that these migrant workers are dying, but I will say at least they're trying to provide a job. Now whether their safety standards are up to par like the U.S., I mean, of course they're not.
No.
Not a lot of places have safety standards like we do. And again, I know we hate OSHA, we hate the EPA. There are positives to these organizations, but granted, they're government ran, so of course they're going to be inefficient.
It says migrant workers, so they're probably not paying them right.
Right.
Probably not. You know what?
Well, OSHA, USDA, FDA, those are
the
like
FDA. You mean the organization that allows all these foods and everything to be poisoned?
Yeah, like Red 40 and Yellow 3 and all that.
If you look at like what Europe is allowed in their food and what we've got in ours, it's no
Don't get
comparison.
me wrong. They're not perfect.
Yeah, FDA, they're a great organization.
They're not perfect. They're not good.
They suck.
But why are they not good?
Because they're ran by the government. The government sucks.
So if it was third-partied, how much better would it be if it was a private organization that was auditing?
If it was a third party that had to have government oversight, it would probably be amazing.
So much better.
It would probably be amazing. But since it's ran by the government itself, the government sucks.
I mean, yeah, U.S. Postal Service, FDA, OSHA, USDA, they all suck.
Hold on. Sucks.
So there you go. EPA.
Sucks. Hey, we're just going for the full fist here.
Like I said. So yeah, I mean, these organizations, they're there for good, and I truly believe they can do good. I think we just need a better approach of going to it.
I agree. And then getting back to like the Qatar or the World Cup.
Yeah.
That. Why is it that we are still doing this practice of holding the World Cup and the Olympics in different countries?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Why don't we adopt like the UFC's model and build Fight Island, quote unquote, and make Olympic Island?
Just one specific
place where everybody goes to every 4 years.
Yep.
And they compete.
Well,
and then
because
you have a different location that is like a winter location, and it has to be like in international water.
I guess. Okay, so that's
something.
the problem. Where are those profits going to go to? Right. Like that money has to go to something.
Yeah,
me personally,
if it's not that commercialized, that's where money drives the world. I get that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if you had, Olympic Island or World Cup Island, right? Then it wouldn't have to be so money driven because the infrastructure is already in place.
Right.
All you'd have to do is bring each country's crews in, right? And then each country gets the TV benefits.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple.
I guess
and
it's
then
just
people who want to go to the event. I mean, obviously you have like stadiums and stuff.
So like, what would you do with that money? Would you donate it? Would they be like? Would
it
there
should
be
go into the Olympic fund or the World Cup
like
fund?
a fund, right?
Yeah, that funds those future events, and then it just replenishes.
It funds the workers. It funds like the supplies that come in, all the supply chain, everything. No, I agree with that.
Upkeep.
Okay. So you're literally just it's a reinvestment constantly.
It just reinvests into itself.
Yeah,
and it's set up, and it's a multinational treaty or a multinational deal that is set in place that this is what the funds are used for, and they set a committee with representatives from each country that partakes in the event, and then they oversee what happens with those funds. They make sure that workers get paid. They make sure that the stadiums are upkept. They make sure that when it is go time, like everything is pristine and looks great. And then the proceeds from the next one just go to replenishing that fund.
Ryan, there's an issue with that. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen.
It's not.
It won't, but it makes sense. But
you know what? Make those islands BYOB.
Yeah.
That way you don't have another Budweiser incident.
Yeah, exactly.
They got to donate $75 million worth of beer.
Oh, that's funny. So bringing it back full circle, Qatar. Yeah, I mean, obviously their standards, their safety standards, and I would say most countries' safety standards are not up to par with like America's, of course. So, with that being said, I would love to see it get better, but to see, this article, of course, you never want to see migrants die, or you don't want to see people die in general, but unfortunately, it's come to that, and let's just hope that they find better ways to resolve this going forward. So, and especially in a country like Qatar. So,
this
you
is what's crazy. We use the articles number 500 to 6,500. People,
the discrepancy is ridiculous.
Have died over the last decade for people's entertainment. So it's, I assume it's slave labor.
Migrant workers could mean a lot of different things. I mean,
people coming across just to work for it, like contract workers and plenty of, like, so for example, something that the cruise line would define as like a migrant worker would be those who go work for the cruise line. They're only independent contractors, though. They go out for that specific cruise and then they come back.
So you don't think they're working against their will?
I'm not saying there aren't people who probably aren't, but I don't know for a fact, so I don't want to say. I don't
like to use slave labor. We like to say indentured servitude.
Ask China.
I don't know. It's just crazy that. I just think that's the way this world works, though. It doesn't matter if they're paid or not paid. The people don't care. They just want to be entertained from a game.
Oh, I mean, well, that goes back to beginning of time. I mean, just go back to Rome and the gladiators and what they used to do. I mean, they just used to throw people in there, say, hey, go ahead, kill each other, have fun,
fight to the death.
Fight to the death, beat the living crap out of people. And I give it about another 10 years. I'm serious.
I don't think 10. I think it's gonna be more like 15. But
you think?
Yeah, 15 to 20.
It's coming though. I think guarantee you it's coming.
Duels to the death. Because have you seen the guys that dress up in the suit of armor, like the old knights?
Yeah.
And they just duke it out with swords and axes and shields and maces and stuff. It's like, those are the guys. Those are going to be the ones that lead the charge.
Either that or Death Race, if y'all have never seen that movie.
It's like Fast and Furious, but deadlier.
And you get to enjoy it on TV.
By an inch or a mile, winning's winning.
But anyways, let's move on to the next one. We're going to talk about the World Cup team of Iran. So families, which by the way, America beat Iran. Whoop, whoop.
What do you think the punishment for that's going to be? That's Iran we're talking about.
That is horrible to say, but you're not necessarily wrong. Kind of like, whenever the Olympics were going on and people would lose in China or whatever, they'd be like, well, I wonder if we're ever going to see them again. It's like, holy crap. That's scary to think about. Competing for your life. But,
don't go and lose to the U.S.
Families of Iran's World Cup team threatened over player behavior ahead of U.S. match, which did happen, and we did beat them today. What's today, right?
I think it was yesterday.
Yesterday, thank you.
We beat them 1-0, right?
Yeah, 1-0.
Did you see the video of like the U.S. player and the Iranian player, and they were like hugging?
Mm-mm.
that's why I thought, like, what do you think the punishment is? Because that dude was sobbing. I'm
Right.
like, ooh.
Yeah, you never know, right?
I mean, one, you let your country down. That sucks. But two, your country's not a friendly place.
Well, here we go. So I'm reading part of this article. So amid ongoing anti-government protests in Iran, the families of the country's World Cup team have allegedly been threatened with imprisonment and torture if the players fail to behave in their pivotal match against the U.S. on Tuesday. So there you go. Torture and imprisonment. And you know what? Let's even talk about this for a minute. The entire country is protesting right now, and they're worried about sending a team to the freaking World Cup.
Bro, there's things that are more important.
How in the hell?
I mean that absolutely, like,
sarcastically.
Citing our whole country's falling down.
It's back to what I say.
Let's flip forward in the World Cup. Like, if we don't, you better win too. Because if you don't, your family.
Yep.
People just want to be entertained, and it makes a lot of money.
All that matters. Citing a source characterized as involved in security surrounding Iran's World Cup matches, CNN reports that the players were called to a meeting with members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps after they refused to sing national anthem before the opening World Cup game against England.
Ooh.
Oh,
Could you imagine if they kneeled for their national anthem?
Oh.
What would happen?
The source told CNN players were told their families would face violence and torture if they did not sing the Iranian national anthem or if they joined political protests against Iran. That is insane. Iran has been rocked by mass protests against Tehran regime sparked by the death on September 16th of the 22-year-old Masha Amini, if you all don't remember her, who was taken into custody by the morality police and ended up dying. We talked about her about 4 weeks ago. Amini had been taken into custody, probably longer than that, September. Yeah, geez, way longer. Amini had been taken into custody for allegedly wearing her headscarf too loosely. Speaking at a press conference before Iran's match against England, Iranian captain Ihsan Hajifi expressed support for those who lost loved ones amid the country's unrest. More than 300 people have died since the protest began, and not to mention they're going to try to kill 15,000 protesters. Execute, I should say.
That's killing.
Well, yeah.
Call a spade a spade.
Iran lost its opening game 6-2 before defeating Wales 2-0 in the second match. The country's players did appear to sing the national anthem before the Wales game. A number of Iranian fans of the Qatar World Cup have used games to protest against the country's regime, sparking angry stadium confrontations with pro-government fans. See, and this is so...
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you hate it in America so much, and you think that our system and our way of life and our values and everything are just the world's worst system
ever, yeah.
And all that other stuff, like some of these people out here are saying, I challenge you to go to Iran.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Good luck.
Because I'm so sick and tired of hearing about how America sucks and all this other bull crap. Like when you have things like this that are going on, where government is planning to execute 15,000 of their own people just because they said something bad about their government,
and they don't like what's going on, and they're protesting.
And this girl loses her life because she wore her headscarf too loosely.
Yep.
And your World Cup team is being threatened with torture and death if they don't sing your national anthem.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's bullcrap.
And yet we have
it
these.
Makes me so mad.
We have these these woke people here in America talking about how we're like the most racist country. We do all of this wrong. I'm sorry. Go to one of these countries and you know what? Try your way of life over there. Yeah, seriously.
Like,
just stop.
Just go. If you don't like it here, then go find one of these other places that you think is so much better and test it out.
Kind of brings me full circle back to my point earlier where I'm saying it has to be international countries that are truly inputting their propaganda essentially into our system as to why people believe we're so bad when the truth is right in front of them. Look at China. Look, we just posted a video the other day.
What's the Uyghurs Toll up to?
The what?
The Uyghurs Toll?
Oh, I don't even know at this point.
I mean, it was at 1.2 million back in September when we
Not
covered
only
it,
that,
right?
have you seen these videos we've been posting too about these COVID camps, these COVID isolation camps, and people being forced away from their families in China? Yeah.
Man, so that happened one other time in history, I believe. And
I believe it was called the Holocaust.
Oh, you went there. I'm
just
kind
putting
of
up
hinting
facts.
to it.
I'm just putting up facts. I mean, that's...
And I'm pretty sure we all signed a treaty that said never again.
Never again. It's happening
It's
again.
happening in China.
Right in front
of us. Every single day.
So this is where it gets, so let's bring this around full circle, right? Whether we're talking about Iran, whether we're talking about Qatar, we're talking about China, we're talking about human rights issues. America is the biggest funder and the biggest asset towards NATO. So if we are that biggest asset, what do we have to do to not police the world and worry about ourselves, but also uphold humanitarian efforts across the world, right? Like, how do you balance this? Because I don't know how to do it, and I don't have that answer, right? So my biggest question to you people out there, whether it's you two right here with me or anybody who's watching the show today, I have, because I played devil's advocate on this. I have conflicting thoughts. Yes, I want humans to be able to have the best possibility at life. I don't care where you're born. Some of the smartest people in the world are born all around the country, and unfortunately, they don't have the right to be able to express that intelligence of theirs because of what their country does to hold them back. But at the same time, I acknowledge the own issues that we have right here in America, that we are not, like you said, homeless children, homeless people. We have millions. I mean, geez, LA alone, so looking at that, I don't know where that balance is. And I'm kind of coming with that question to you two. What do you think that balance is, and how do we find it?
I mean, I think that the world is going to eventually have to come together, and they're going to have to say enough is enough. Unfortunately, there's too many people out there that profit off of other people dying or other people being enslaved and things like that, that it's just not going to go away until a group of countries gets together and says no more. And when that happens, then you're going to see probably a war. I mean, it's going to be
a third Great World War.
I mean, it has to stop.
Yeah, sooner or later.
Human rights abuses have to stop. They just have to. And that is one thing that I do agree with. The quote unquote woke mob about just not being evil to other people.
Right.
That point, yeah, I agree with that point, because that is absolutely what needs to happen. Like, come on, people, we are not barbarians. And I know that other countries aren't as developed as us and things like that, but come on.
Right.
If you're going to pour money into stuff, right? Why don't we pour some of that money into going towards things that help other countries get to the point where they don't have to be a third world country?
It's because of the authoritarian government. And at what point? So here's the problem, right? And here's what you look at in history. When the U.S. tries to intervene, we're told, oh, we're too power hungry. We're trying to take down governments. We're the empire. But we're also trying to free those people to allow them to make a government for themselves. Now, granted,
I disagree.
Really? So what do you think?
I don't think we.
You don't think we try to help people?
Who have we tried to liberate?
Vietnam.
South America. Sorry, I can't even hold a straight face on South America because we screwed that.
We screwed that
so
country.
bad.
I mean, the Middle East. We thought we were going to be
weapons of mass destruction.
How did we try to liberate them?
So I
invading
guess
their country.
What you try to do is you try to take away the terrorist organization, and you try to
and the next one
implement
rises up.
a democratic government.
The only problem with that is every time you go in and you remove someone from power, it creates a vacuum. And when that vacuum happens, it's the most violent and the person who's willing to do anything that rises to the top.
Yep.
And so it just, I kind of agree with Stu. I mean, anytime we've tried to help, I think we've kind of made things worse for the country that we've gone into.
I'm not disagreeing, but the problem is, so what is the solution if that's not the solution?
Stay out of those countries.
But then we just continue to let people get tortured and die?
What's the alternative? It's going to happen anyway.
Ah, man, that's tough. See,
That
I
is
mean,
tough.
you do
That's
bring
real
up a
tough.
great point because at some
We
point,
could just send our troops in there to die.
no, but at some point, like
We've got
you
drones,
said,
though.
we do have drones.
They kill innocent people.
At some point,
Sometimes.
we have to look at history and say, what did we do when we felt a tyrannical government come on top of us? We stepped up as people. But we had firearms. We were able to continue to fight that tyranny. These people don't have that option. They're already suppressed. They don't have the ability to get firearms. They don't have the ability to overthrow these governments. And we're just going to continue to allow people to get tortured. You know, me as a person, that doesn't sit right with me. Just as an individual, right? Like, that sits on my conscience.
I agree with that. I mean, it's tough.
It's a tough answer.
Do they want
What
our
is the
help?
solution?
Do they even want our help?
I mean, so I would say yes. Who in their right mind, right? And again, the only reason I know this is because I literally talked to immigrants through my professional career, and they have sat there and talked about how they have had their homes invaded, their families have gotten shot, they've ran away simply because they believed in one religion, or they protested, they disagreed with something. That's why they came to America, and they love America so much because of it. So yeah, I would say they do. Now,
I had a family that lived right beside me that was from El Salvador, and the little boy, it was a mom, her 3 kids, and they were just living beside us.
yeah,
And the little boy told me a story about how he watched his grandfather and his father get murdered in front of him.
Oh yeah,
when he was like 8 years old.
that's reality
Because
over there.
they double cross, or they didn't double cross, but they crossed the cartel.
They're in a civil war over there.
Well, no, they actually did something that they weren't supposed to the cartel that was in power at the time, and they literally came in and made an example of them.
Right.
And it's like, whoa.
And that's coming from an
crazy.
8-year-old child.
That's coming from an 8-year-old. I mean, it's like, man, there's got to be something somebody can do somewhere. Like, can we do something?
There's got to be something. I just don't know what that solution is. So I would argue that people do want our help, just because I have literally gone and talked to these immigrants that have come over from these countries, and people do want our help. The problem is when we get too money hungry, or like, again,
go in and explore their natural resources,
or like in Vietnam, when we go in and we start raping their civilians, and we start, I mean, like, that was a legit thing. The American military was very wrong in Vietnam, what we were doing there. And
well, I mean, just like in Iraq, we go there and we liberate them from Saddam Hussein, which was a good thing, because he was not a good guy.
Not at all. He was.
But then we just started ransacking their oil fields.
Exactly.
And completely, like,
that's where it goes wrong.
Yeah, it's when greed gets in there, and it's like, good Lord, man.
Yeah, when you eliminate, I would say, that threat, you have to be able to find people. What I would personally do is I would get together with leaders of those communities and say, okay, give me, like, your elders, your most wise people. Let's sit down. Let's talk about how we're going to be able to implement local governments at the very least. Like something.
But here's my next question, though, Naif. If we can't even fix our own system, how are we going to go and fix somebody else's?
I mean, fair point, right? Like, we can't even fix our own system because our people are too ignorant to understand how our republic works and who to vote for and what to watch. And I mean, we go through.
But is that a product of the education system?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the underfunding and the, I guess, ignorance towards the education system that is out there right now. And that's why we don't have a stronger society.
I agree.
You know what's something that's crazy? I saw the other day, a buddy of mine posted it on Instagram. You know TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm.
In China, because you have to sign up and you have to put your age and all that stuff in. If you're under the age of 15, TikTok limits you to 40 minutes per day, and it only shows you educational things.
It's actually not a bad idea.
No. But you know what? The TikTok that everybody else gets completely just dumbs you down.
Right.
And the crazy part is that, like, if you go and you talk to the kids and you say, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? In America, you know what that answer is?
YouTuber.
Influencer
is the biggest number one thing.
In China, you know what that answer is? astronaut.
Like actual dreams. Yeah.
So you put those two societies and let that play out for a couple of decades. Which one do you think's going to win?
Right now, China's already winning.
Oh yeah,
they're
absolutely.
already winning drastically.
So,
it's
to
hard.
bring that back. It's just like if we, as our own government and our own country, aren't going to take the time and put the money in place to educate our citizens more on how a republic works or how, our country works and just the government and everything else, then how are we going to go into another country and fix that?
Right.
I truly believe that we need to get our nose out of other countries,
start resolving
until
our own crap.
We fix what we've got going on here.
See, now that's the only thing, though. If we were to actually implement something like that, oh, your child only gets 40 minutes a day on this app.
There's idiots out there that'd be like, "What do you mean my child only gets 40?" Well, and I mean, this also can go into the all-out attack on the nuclear family, but like that's a different subject for a different day. We were talking about the World Cup.
Yeah, so let's full circle, bringing this all back
together.
Got on a little
rant there, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that.
Iran and just what they're doing, absolutely horrible to their team, to their people. I hope the best for that country. I hope they're able to continue to work through what they got going on, and I hope they're able to get rid of the government that they don't want. So
one other thing, and this is completely just going to make you laugh. Is it bad that every time I hear the country Iran, I always think of that song? And I ran. I ran so far away. It's terrible. I know it is. But like, that's welcome to my brain, people.
I love it. All right, let's move forward. Let's talk about China and actually show you all a quick 3-minute video of what's happening there. So, Stuart, if you don't mind running that video for me real quick, that would be fantastic.
Dude.
Love to.
Thanks,
Get it
sir.
started.
Come on, Jamie Stewart.
Jamie Stewart.
Do we have sound on that? Can people hear it?
I'm checking now.
Mute me real quick. Give my mic. You can't hear it.
Bear with us, everybody, as we're going to get this to work for you all.
Dave.
Yeah, I unmuted it. I can mute. You can mute your mic right there at the top too. That little. Actually, yours is on the bottom. There's a flashing red button.
I'm just gonna start it.
Now, this is theater. I mean, it's obvious. How old are you?
35.
And you wear a bow tie.
Yeah, I do. I do.
So this is...
All right, here we go.
I know. you're right. No, let me just go. No, come on.
And listen,
This is the moment that Tucker Carlson became a villain. I'll prove it to you, but let's just run it.
All right, so just kind of breaking that video down. I mean, as you all have seen, there have been multiple riots.
Hold on.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, there have been multiple riots through all of China and what's been happening there. So, with China,
Hey, Stuart, unmute me.
with China being where they are with these protests, I just
Hello?
China,
Okay. Yeah, we're good.
yeah, I can't imagine that the CCP continues to piss off their people this much. They have a huge population. Their own military, I'm assuming, would even sooner or later. I mean, dude, 100 days without leaving your home. Could you imagine? Could you imagine not leaving? I can't imagine not leaving my house for 4 days. I've had my periods of time where I'm sick or I'm quarantined, and I love being at home. I love resting, getting my whatever. But after 3-4 days, I'm sitting here like, dude, I'm cooped up in the house. I gotta get outside. I gotta go shopping, take a walk, see my family, whatever, walk dogs, doesn't matter. I need something, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I can only be cooped up in my house for so darn long. And I can't imagine that people aren't going to start turning on their government sooner rather than later, and that's what these protests are about. But I don't, if the CCP doesn't start to actually listen, how much worse are these going to get? Is it going to turn into another Iran situation where they're going to start locking people up, saying we will execute you? Is it going to? Is that what it's going to turn into? There is even more of.
Look at the Uyghurs.
Yeah. That's for slave labor. So is there much of a difference?
If they're
anymore?
willing to do it to the Uyghur population, then why
They're
wouldn't they be
willing to do it
willing
with
to
their
do
own
anybody?
population. Yeah, completely fair.
Yeah, anybody who speaks out against the CCP, that's the fate that they have.
But them in India have the biggest populations with over 1 billion people in their countries. I just can't imagine them.
India's not like a big country either.
India and China are not that big.
China's a pretty decent sized country, but
like it's so polluted and populated and overcrowded still, even with
Bigger
like
than
the
the US.
population they have.
is it? Is the like the actual like land mass bigger? I know Russia's way bigger. But
Russia's way bigger, and
Russia's
they don't
only
even
got like what 250 million.
Yeah, and they
or
have
something
less
like
than
that?
us. They have freaking less than us. So China is approximately 9,596,960 square kilometers, while the U.S. is approximately 9,833,517 square kilometers, making the U.S. 2% larger than China. And the population of China is 1.4 billion people.
With a B.
With a B. That
capital B, like
is
Bitcoin.
overpopulated as all get out. We're already overpopulated at 360
I wouldn't
million.
say that.
People feel that way, at least.
That's the people who
'Cause they
feel
all
that
live
way
in
are that live in
cities.
cities.
Well, yeah, good point. Good point.
Because have you ever driven from place to place?
Yeah, it's really not that bad.
Oh my God, it's way more unpopulated than it is populated.
Yeah, I'd actually agree with that. Yeah, good point. Especially where we live and being able to go into the back roads and countries.
I saw a statistic that the actual land mass of the United States that is populated is something like 97% that's unpopulated.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we have a lot we could expand. Well, yeah, you look at like the West
think about
and how
Kansas.
the flatlands
There is
and
nothing in
there's
Kansas.
nothing there.
Like Wichita. And then there's like nothing else. And then there's like Toledo. And then there's nothing else.
Wisconsin, there's nothing. I'm just kidding. I know he's a Wisconsin fan.
So are you telling us that we need to move to the next
What about
subject?
China, guys?
What about China? Man, I don't know what to say. It's pretty typical, right? Like, these protests aren't obscene. They're not brand new. They've been happening. It's just not a shock anymore.
No, it's not. And China is China. They are going to do what they're going to do until somebody decides that they want to overthrow their government.
It's crazy because we talk about
Could
this.
you imagine the power vacuum that's going to cause?
Oh, I know.
Ooh, because they've got a lot more going on than just this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because they their real estate market is getting ready to collapse.
Crash.
It's being propped up right now by the government. And the government is only going to be able to do that for so long.
What's their interest rates at?
I don't know.
I can only imagine.
I think they're higher than ours.
Probably like 20.
But they're sitting on a $300 billion collapse in the real estate market right now in China.
That's insane.
And they're just like sitting on the cliff looking at it like, ooh, that's a long way down.
I do have something to say, whether it's, I don't know, just a thought. Couldn't China pick through like our riots, videos and stuff, and show our economy and all these things and say U.S. is on the verge of collapse? They could.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean,
exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, even if there's, so to Nave's point, 1.4 billion. Even if there's 150,000 people at this riot, or let's 500,000,
500,000,
a million. If there's a million people at this riot, or 2 million, that's 2% of their population.
Yeah.
Not even. Not even.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, while it looks bad, you're like, ooh, my gosh, it's really unruly over there. But you know what? So is Portland.
Yeah.
You look at Portland. Portland was like, that was they
scary.
had autonomous zones and everything else, and all of us were sitting here like, oh shit, Portland's
Yeah. Oh, God, look at Portland burning up.
But the same thing's going on right here. Like people in Hong Kong are looking at Xinjiang and they're like, I'm not there, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, man. It's.
You don't hear about it in Shanghai. You don't hear about it in Hong Kong. You don't hear about it in Wuhan.
Yeah, the other good question
that's another
is
city of 100 million.
the other good question is what does the media look like in China? You know, are those people in Beijing getting that news that hey, you know, they're rioting over there, they're
Probably
like
not.
protesting? Are they getting that news? We don't know. We don't know what their media looks like. I mean, hell, there are things here that don't get reported on every single day that I would love to see. But
Oh, yeah, all the time. So
Yeah.
I think Stu makes a very good point. I think that obviously there's a lot of people in the world right now that don't want to see China succeed.
right,
Me being one of them.
Me too.
And so people are using the riots or the bad things that are happening in their country, and they're saying, oh, well, this is the end of China. No, it's not.
no.
China's never been stronger.
I was gonna say, I mean, just
Other than their economic, downfalls that are right on their doorstep. But we're $28 trillion in debt. You don't think we're not sitting here looking at the cliff going, whoo,
that's a long way down.
Good luck, grandkids.
Next generation will figure it out.
Yeah, they'll
They'll
figure
be
it out
alright.
sometime. And that's why there needs to be term limits.
I agree.
This is rubbing all back around.
Love how we brought it full circle. But yeah, so I mean that China riots, protests, not a shock. Definitely have seen it coming. You know, we've been talking about it for a while now. We've been posting videos about it on our pages. So, it's not like this stuff is brand new. We've talked about it. We've been posting about it. It's here in front of us. This is information that we are getting out to you. So that's why we ask that you follow and support and subscribe.
Like,
to
share,
us.
follow, subscribe.
Subscribe.
kind of glad people are protesting that all over,
of
the
course.
world, not just.
Yeah, that is a good sign.
Iran, Venezuela, New Zealand. You look at China. You look at Great Britain, who was really pissed off with their new prime minister who lasted 6 weeks.
All right. Have you guys ever? And now I'm asking you to take off your hat, right?
Okay.
And I'm asking you to put your tin hat on. Have you ever heard of a thing called Project Looking Glass?
No, I have not.
Okay, so long story short, apparently the super elites of the world have this tool that they can look into the future and see what's going to happen. Believe that, take that for face value. But the report is that there's an event that happens, and it's an unavoidable event. And what they're calling it is the Great Awakening.
What?
Yeah. So supposedly in the future, sometime, there is going to be an event that is unavoidable. It doesn't matter what they do now to try to avoid it, according to this looking glass conspiracy theory, that the people of the world are going to wake up and realize that their governments are not doing what's in their best interest. And then all the governments of the world will collapse. So I encourage you to go and check that out. Sorry, now you can take your tin hat off.
Yeah, no, I got it pulled up so I can look at it later. Interesting. Love to look into that.
Yeah,
love
but
conspiracy theories.
I mean, with the reason I brought that up is because you're talking about all these riots that are going on all over the world.
It is scary.
Yeah, it's not scary, but it is scary in one way. It's not so
in
scary
another
in the
way.
other.
Yeah.
But could this be leading to the event that they're talking about in this conspiracy theory?
Right.
Because it does seem like people are waking up all over the world.
Yeah, technology has really sped that up, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because it's given more exposure, to the things that are happening. Again, I think the world's always been this corrupt. I think it's just technology is finally exposing it.
Yeah, I
right.
think so.
And that's where we're kind of at. So
I think Dave Chappelle kind of hit the nail on the head with the Trump dialogue thing.
Yeah.
He was like, that guy came out of the house and said, "We're doing everything you think we're doing," and then walked right back inside.
Just so you know. He doesn't care. He's going to die in the next couple of years,
I love
too.
Dave Chappelle. He's the
Dave
best.
Chappelle's
Anyway, all right, what's the next one?
golden. Yeah, let's move forward. But great topic. Like I said, China. You're hopefully gonna fall sooner or later. Republican leaders denounced Trump's dinner with white nationalists.
China, you suck. I hate you, and you're gonna fall sooner or later. "Quote unquote," Dave Moses.
Oh, jeez. Republican leaders denounced Trump's dinner with white nationalist Nick Fuentes. And this is the next topic.
Wait. White supremacist Nick Fuentes?
Yeah, and the article calls him white nationalist.
Isn't he going to that dinner with Ye?
Yeah. I don't know. Makes no sense. I thought they already had it.
Thought so too.
But maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm
Because
wrong.
wasn't it Ye, Fuentes, and
Trump.
Milo? I can't say his last name. It's
Not
Milo
a clue.
Yiannopoulos.
Yeah,
I'm
they already
sorry.
had a dinner.
Yeah. All right. So House and Senate Republicans are speaking out against former President Donald Trump's dinner last week with Ye, the rapper formerly known as Kanye West, and white nationalist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes. He denies the Holocaust. There is no room in the. How do you deny something that was so well documented? There is
Bro,
no
you
room.
obviously have not spent enough time on YouTube.
I have not.
You need to go down some rabbit holes.
I'm good.
I don't want to.
There is no room in the Republican Party for anti-Semitism or white supremacy, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said Tuesday. And anyone meeting with the people advocating that point of view, in my judgment, are highly unlikely to ever be elected president of the United States. Well, earlier in the day, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy denounced Fuentes, who is labeled as a white supremacist pundit and organizer by the Anti-Defamation League, in language similar to McConnell's, though he stopped short of condemning the former president. I don't think anybody should be spending any time with Nick Fuentes. He has no place in this Republican Party, McCarthy said. I think President Trump came out 4 times and condemned him and didn't know who he was. When a reporter pointed out McCarthy that the former president only denied knowing Fuentes, not condemning his ideologies, McCarthy responded, "Well, I condemn his ideology. It has no place in society." The former president dined with Ye and Fuentes at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida last Tuesday, where, according to Ye's official Twitter account, the rapper asked Trump to be his running mate for 2024.
He asked him to be his vice president.
That's funny.
He asked him to be his vice president. Like, that was going to go over well.
Trump, who recently announced his 2024 presidential bid, took to his social media platform Truth Social on Saturday and tried to clear the record. He said in the post that Ye had requested the meeting for advice concerning some of his difficulties, noting that he didn't know Fuentes. Pence also You have the internet. How do you not know somebody? Just Google him. Pence also strongly denounced the dinner with Fuentes. The leaders' reactions to the dinner came a day after former Vice President Mike Pence said that Trump should apologize for even sitting down with Fuentes. Trump was wrong, giving a white nationalist and anti-Semitist and Holocaust denier a seat at the table. Pence said in an interview on News Nation Now, and I think he should apologize for it, and he should denounce those individuals, their hateful rhetoric without qualification. Where the hell do you even start with this? First off, Fuentes sounds like an absolute moron. I mean, again, I don't understand how you can deny something that is so well documented. I mean, you have people who have come from World War II, you know, my uncles, you know, who have even served in World War II, who have seen firsthand what this experience was like and how sickening and disgusting it was. And you're going to sit here and try to deny it. Like, I'm sorry, buddy. You need. This is part of the problem. People actually believe Nick Fuentes. People actually listen to this guy and take his words and put it to meaning. And this is part of the issue we have in this country. You know, and I'm somebody who disagrees with banning somebody's opinion or banning certain kind of media, because I don't think we need to censor anything. What I think we need to do is we need to put that rhetoric right there out in the open for people to be like, wow, you're a moron, or like, obviously there's a reason we don't follow you.
Yeah, to draw their own conclusions.
But the problem is we have people that actually follow it. And that starts with our education system. So if you're going to put these false narratives in these people's heads and they actually believe it, you know, I don't know how big of a following Fuentes has, but, I mean, do you all know by chance?
I don't.
I'll check his YouTube.
I do put people up there that deny the Holocaust. I put those people right up there with flat earth.
Yeah, seriously, like Kyrie.
Well, my question is like, with the flat earth thing, like, have you ever been in an airplane? Because
like,
you can
seriously,
see the curvature of the earth from the airplane. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about this Fuentes guy. I don't know anything
about
and I
him,
apologize. I should know more about him.
I don't know anything about him.
But this also, I mean, it sounds like this was a setup and Trump took the bait.
It kind of sounds like it.
Right? Like a anti-Semitic guy who denies the Holocaust is asking for a dinner with Trump. And he's going with Ye, who's
the same.
Clearly not in a good headspace right now. And is, I mean, looking at Kanye, man, that's actually kind of sad. That dude is having a mental breakdown in front of all of all of us. You know what I mean? And I can't say that I blame him. You know, his wife gone, now his kids. He's paying $200,000 a month in child support. Like, it's crazy. How you can keep it together after having your relationship publicly fall apart like that.
Well, and then he's talking about how the Clintons were apparently close with the Kardashians, so we don't know anything there. And
I mean, I think there actually is some documentation to back that up, but I'm not sure 100%. So I'm not gonna confirm or deny that. But it sounds like it was a setup. Trump took the bait, and now it's the fact that it's now falling on Trump is what makes it feel like a setup to me, because now the conversation has shifted away from Ye and Nick Fuentes being, you know, what they are, and now it's falling on Trump for even entertaining these people. You know what I mean? So it does. It sounds like it was a hit job. Yeah,
just a quick Google search on this guy. Like, here are some of his beliefs. Like, obviously he denies the Holocaust and he's anti-Semitic. He has this thing about Catholic integralism and Christian nationalism. He believes the Taliban was a good conservative religious governance, and that he believes in, and he actually backs. He has white supremacy
that to the guy
views.
Who's hanging from the helicopter.
Yeah, he freaking even told that women shouldn't have the right to vote. I mean, good Lord. And he used to have a following on YouTube until he got deplatformed, which doesn't surprise me. And he amassed 45,000 subscribers before he even got taken off YouTube. So to put that into perspective, people actually follow and believe this guy, and I don't understand how. How could anybody even remotely give this guy the time of day?
My better question is how did he get a dinner with former President Trump?
Because he showed up with Kanye.
Yep.
But I think Trump is also to blame.
Yeah. I'm not saying
100%.
Here. You should definitely know who he's sitting down with.
Yeah, no joke.
Especially if you're running for president.
Yeah, well, even then, his staff should be ashamed of themselves.
I mean, if Biden sat down with somebody on the far left, I mean, good Lord, the right media would
destroy him. Like if he sat down with, I don't know, let's just think like the leader of BLM or the leader of Antifa or something of that nature, you know. Oh my gosh, he would get absolutely blasted. Sure.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
And Trump is getting blasted for
he is.
So.
He's getting destroyed.
I'm not saying that it wasn't Trump's fault. I'm just saying that it felt like a setup, and he hook, line,
easily,
and sinker.
yeah, took the bait.
He knows Kanye's beliefs, but he's like buddy with him.
It makes no sense.
He continues to. I think he invited Kanye down.
Yeah, like, see, Kanye, and that's the weird thing about this whole thing, right? Like, Kanye had a very good chance to kind of clear the air about what this whole anti-Semitist, like,
with Tim Pool.
how he's been going with Tim Pool. All Tim Pool was trying to realize was like, hey, are you literally blaming the entire Jewish community, or are you saying there is a top, powerful few Jewish individuals that are running this, and, you know, without me or us getting canceled, you know, I'm just simply stating what they are saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, Tim actually explained himself very well.
Yeah, very well.
He even brought up the point of like, do you believe that there are an elite like group of Jewish people that are in control of certain systems that are trying to oppress you?
Or are you saying like the whole Jewish community? Or are you
talking about the whole community at large?
Yeah, like what are you trying to say here?
He was like, I'm out.
Yeah, and then he just walked up and just got up and left. So when people have an opportunity to actually explain and to really dive deep into these details, he doesn't even take a chance into it.
Yeah. And also, just to reiterate what Nate said, these are not our beliefs.
No, not
we
by
are
any means.
just simply repeating and explaining
what they are
saying.
Yeah. And that's why they seem so off the walls, is because nobody truly understands what the hell is going on anymore.
I thought Trump was a genius.
Yeah.
According to the right.
According to the right. But, well, that's...
And I thought the earth was flat.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That just shows his ignorance.
But that's the problem.
Or his pompous.
Either political party will hang on the coattails of anybody that will get them the win.
Mm-hmm.
Just for that period of time. Now, if they do something wrong, boom, exile, move on to the next one. Right now, of course, they're looking to try to... DeSantis is like their next big...
This is what I think about
nationals.
Trump. As long as you love him and you, like...
Don't see his
bow
flaws.
down to him, he doesn't care what kind of person you are.
No.
As long as you're passionate about him and you love him, you're in.
You're in, exactly, and you're in that circle. I think he's one of those egotistical people. I think in the beginning he did have... I think in the beginning,
maniac.
you know, with his policies, some of the things he did, sure, he probably had decent intentions. But, again, you showed your true colors when you continued to manufacture in China. You now sit down with a white nationalist. You know, Biden should be in a home. The dude should not be in such a high position, a high stressful position, kind of like Fetterman.
Actually, I was going to say, did you see that the Democratic Party announced their next candidacy was Biden Fetterman? No, I'm just kidding.
I
can't say it with a straight face. I can't say it. Dave's expression just now was worth it.
I was like, please tell me you're kidding.
Dave was like,
no. I'm looking
just
back
flabbergasted.
Wow. Because look, again, I truly think this guy needs to be, these gentlemen need to be in like a rehabilitating facility. They need to be somewhere where they're not in a high stress environment, and we need to move on to people who are actually in their right mind. But that, again,
like a Ron DeSantis, like a Tulsi Gabbard, like, you know, these people who are the people who are the most like us.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like us personally. I'm saying like us as a society.
Yeah, I mean, I would even go for Bloomberg or Andrew Yang. People who can...
No.
People who can discuss.
Bloomberg, he can go away.
But people who
Yang,
can...
I'd be cool with Yang.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying Bloomberg's a great choice,
Good
but at
God,
least
could you
he's
imagine
in his
more
right...
commercials from Bloomberg?
At least he's in his right mind to be able to have a conversation and get destroyed on a political, like... level. Not, but like Biden is not even there. We see that. We see it every day.
Who deny that, like,
I'm sorry, I have no time of day for you.
I'm like, okay, never mind.
Like,
okay.
There's no point in
ever
arguing.
talking to you about politics ever again.
Even if you're a Democrat, okay, you have to admit, look, Biden's I mean, he's not there. He needs to be in a home. He needs to be somewhere away from a stress-free environment. Dude's 80 years old. What are you doing working, man? Like, come on, man.
But,
so,
here's the other thing, though. When Trump first came down that golden escalator and announced his candidacy for president, I think for the first, 2, maybe 3 years, he was doing everything he could to try to help the country. I believe that. I think the political game got him, chewed him up, and spit him out. And now he is not who he was in 2016 when he ran.
Completely different.
Because, I mean, think about, and can you blame him? Not necessarily. Could the things that happened at the end of his presidency, there was a riot on the Capitol. There's, he believes that the election was stolen from him, and some shady stuff did happen in the election. I'm not going to say it was like a complete rig job or anything like that, but some shady stuff happened.
Sure.
Georgia. Ballots from under a table. Never mind. Anyway, but there have been things and he's been warped and twisted, and he's been attacked from all sides. Excuse me. I definitely don't think he's the same guy he was when he first started.
No,
and I don't think that he's ever going to be that guy again. He's just this bitter old egotistical man now.
I would argue the same thing. And if you look at the left side, right? Look at just take away from Biden. Let's look at Obama, right? Obama. He came in, he had all these good intentions, he was trying to, what he believed was do, better change for the country and what he thought was the correct way of going about it. And they attacked his citizenship. They attacked his wife, saying she was transgender.
Yeah.
And all these things.
Happening.
That's still happening. And the political game, no matter who you are, destroys you.
Oh, it destroys you from the core.
And I feel like there's a
core.
reason for that. I feel like there's a real legit reason that it continues to destroy people. One of the best, will say,
power corrupts absolutely.
The absolute best presidential elections I think happened was 2008. And people might be like, well, Obama, this, that, whatever. Just ignore that aspect for a minute. Ignore left and right. Go back to the debate when he was running against...
was it McCain?
McCain, thank you. One of the things that happened is in McCain's meeting, he was sitting there talking to his people, and they said, well, Obama's a Muslim. We don't want him run. And McCain said, no. He said, Obama is a good family man with a different set of ideals of how to run this country. And that's it. He's an American citizen with a different set of ideals compared to me. And that was when politics was still respectable, and at least to an extent, not really, because they were still
been respectable.
Yeah, good point. But McCain and Obama, watching them run against each other was probably one of the better ones we've ever had.
It was probably the most wholesome election we've ever had.
And then it stopped. Mitt Romney and then Obama attacked each other. Then Trump and Hillary attacked, and then it kept getting worse from there, and it's going to continue getting worse. I feel like unless we stop.
I don't think so. I think
we have to stop.
I think what's going to come out of this is Trump is going to try to push the envelope so far that we just might end up with this Ronnie D. Because
kind of hoping.
I think Ronnie D will drink the Kool.
You think so?
I think he'll.
If not, he'll be forced into the Kool-Aid. One of the two.
I don't know. Man.
I just don't. I don't know where our politics are.
I like to believe that there are some people out there that still have integrity, and everything that I've seen out of Ron looks like he has integrity. Now,
there's some things out there against him.
All of them are afraid to come out
against
and criticize Trump. None of them criticize Trump because they're afraid of the backlash.
Well, DeSantis doesn't even put Trump in. He doesn't even give him attention.
Yeah, he's not even saying
because
anything.
Right now, Trump has gone after him
absolute
completely.
Power move on Ronnie D's.
Yeah, he's not even worried about Trump.
Like, you're not even worth
it. It could be that, or he doesn't want to piss off voters.
The base. But see, this is the thing. Right now, if I'm Ron DeSantis, what I'm looking at is I'm thinking, okay, Trump's kind of digging his own grave right now. He's not gaining more power. I'm just going to let him collapse and then I'm just going to come in and sweep people off their feet.
And if you go to these social media websites right now, almost every single comment that you see involving Trump says Ron DeSantis 2024. Everything that I've so one of the biggest ones I'll tell you.
Why don't you just come out and say he's running?
Strategic.
Yeah,
You don't want
give it
people
some
to see your
time.
next hand.
Give it some time.
Like, you never let...
I don't know if these guys are giving these people a lot of credit. I don't think they're that smart.
I think they are. I think in order to play the game of politics, you have to be.
I disagree. I think they have the analytics next to them.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the staff they have. Think about the millions of dollars that goes into these guys getting elected, that they put up towards it. The people they have on their team. It's not them. It's their team that surrounds them that makes them that smart.
Also, in the game of power, you have to be steps ahead.
Yeah.
There's a book out, and it's the scariest, but one of the most educational books you could ever read. It's called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
I asked for that for Christmas.
Yeah.
From Santa.
From Santa.
Hey, Santa, teach me how to take over the world.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's going to do. And I've read up to rule number 24, and it is terrifying.
I bet.
Because once you read it and you learn that stuff, you can't unsee it.
Right.
You can't unsee what's going on in society.
It's reminding me. Yeah.
That's why I disagree with you when you say that you think we're giving these people too much power or too much credit. No. If you're in the game for power, it's just like what's the famous quote from Game of Thrones? In the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die.
Yep.
Right? It's not that severe anymore. You don't win or die, but you either win or you become irrelevant.
Yeah.
And so these people have to calculate every single move that they do. Have you ever seen inside of like a political war room? It is precise. And what they do is precise. Every single... Now, the only one who wasn't precise was DJT, because that man would say whatever was on his mind. Throw it right up on Twitter. Like, yeah, they suck. But if you look at all the other politicians, well, I guess out of Stumbling Joe, but, you know, the two most recent candidates were probably the least polished candidates that we've ever seen.
I'd agree.
Anything before that, those people are calculated. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're getting ready to say. They know exactly how they're going to attack the person across from them. They know exactly what buttons to push to try to get that person to gain a response. It is a game of chess.
But even then, I was going to say, who knows if Biden and Trump aren't just pawns in a bigger game. You know,
yeah.
They're throwing them out there on purpose so things can get worse, so somebody else can swoop in to be able to. And that,
I think Trump's just an instrument of chaos at this point. I don't know if he's being... I don't think there's a puppeteer above him. I think he's just a wrecking ball.
I think, at this point, he's just trying to destroy everything.
But Biden, if you don't believe Biden's not a puppet, then... something's wrong with you. There's definitely a controlling force.
I just know that Biden should not be in the position he's in.
Heck
he
no.
should not be in that high stress position.
This morning.
Yeah. So, but wrapping all this full circle,
Ooh, geez, we're encroaching on JRE territory.
Yeah, we are.
Boys.
Yeah.
I want to say something about Trump.
Go ahead.
This is what he had going for him.
Right.
He was a quote unquote outsider.
No politician. Yeah.
Wasn't
no
a politician. He ran for president. That's how he got like the independence and stuff.
Yep.
I'm gonna drain the swamp.
Yep.
And whatever else. Well, I think he became part of the swamp.
An alligator came up, bit his leg, and dragged him right into it.
He played the game. He became a part of the swamp.
Lost the game.
And lost his mind,
Well,
basically.
It does look like he's losing the game.
I mean, he
bad
is
right now.
losing it very bad. He's losing a lot of billionaire donators. He's meeting with white supremacists to have dinner. He's
and mentally unstable people.
Yeah.
Like, let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
Ye
mentally
is
unstable people.
right
Yeah. And that's exactly what Ye is right now. And even if like there was a huge difference between Kanye West and Andrew Tate, right?
Well,
like,
there's a big difference between Through the Wire Kanye and Ye.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, when you look at like how people have gotten canceled and taken off social media, again, whether it's like Andrew Tate or Kanye West, you see how Andrew Tate's had his response, and now you see Kanye and how he's just being a big child, walking out of interviews, not able to form like actual debates with people. He's not able to do that.
Defend his position.
He's
either.
not. He's not.
That's how you know you're weak if you can't even defend your position.
Yeah. So like,
No extremist can defend their position.
well, exactly. So
it always resorts to violence.
so
Yeah, it's
Because
filled with emotion.
I'm gonna punch you in the face. It's like a child, you
Yeah.
know. When you
They either
when
get
you
mad or they
corner a
get
child,
quiet.
What do they
Yep.
do? They get wild.
yep. And that's up to own humans' faults as well. I think we should be able to kind of sit down and be able to. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to swallow your pride and be like, damn, I'm wrong. Like, that's why people get so pissed off at Ben Shapiro sometimes, or, some really good debaters, is because they'll sit up there, they'll give their point, and then people just get pissed. They're like, you destroy, yeah, you might have gotten destroyed, but it's hard to swallow your pride and say, I'm wrong. You're right. It's hard for people to do that.
Has Ben Shapiro ever been wrong?
Oh, plenty of times.
Has he admitted that he was wrong?
No, of course he won't. That's where some of these egotistical
The ego.
and
The
yeah,
ego
it
gets
gets
so
so
built
built up.
You know, the only person that I've actually seen who is a great debater and a great speaker, and then come out and say, "No, I was wrong about that," is Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson's the man.
Something scares me though. I think he's starting to sell himself too, being that he signed with the Daily Wire. I mean, I think it gives him a good platform
because it gives him a platform.
It does give him a good platform.
But if you listen to what he's got going on in the Daily Wire, it's the same Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, good point.
So I that doesn't necessarily scare me. He hasn't taken the bad turn.
The bad
yet.
turn yet? No, he hasn't. And I've always enjoyed listening to him. He's probably one of the most intelligent men on this world.
Oh, he definitely understands philosophy. He definitely understands a lot of things. Yeah, if you're actually wanting to listen to a good talk, it's completely unpolitical or anything like that. But Jordan Peterson actually has a conversation with what's his name, Ian McKenna.
Mm-hmm.
It's Terrence McKenna's brother, and they talk about mushrooms and how psilocybin has an effect on people, and it's a positive effect on people and things like that. It's like a 3-hour dissertation, I guess.
Like magic mushrooms?
Yeah, magic mushrooms. Psilocybin. So it's actually a really interesting listen, because he just goes into the human brain and things like that. So yeah, completely unrelated to the topic.
I can only think that so much of that is good for you, though, just like anything else in this world.
Actually, there's a lot of statistics that are coming out on it because of the studies. It's now being decriminalized in a lot of different states, so they're doing a lot of medicinal trials and stuff with it.
Wow.
One of the things that they talked about in that dissertation was the effect on smoking cessation. If you take enough psilocybin to trigger a religious experience, it doesn't not like a spiritual experience,
yes.
Right? Then your depression, it reduces by 80%. Your chance for depression. Your smoking 6 months later after one philosophical trip, smoking, and 80% of people stopped, just cold turkey, never smoked again, haven't smoked in 6 months,
like cigarettes and whatnot. Yeah.
And there's all kind. It rewires the brain. Actually, there's a lot of things that are good about psilocybin. Now, I've never done it. I'm terrified of it.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I've got such a bit of an imagination. I could imagine I'd be out there talking to king cobras.
Yeah.
Whoa! Never going down that road, but yeah. I mean, apparently it's there's a lot of good things from it, and it really, really, really helps with PTSD and depression.
Interesting.
Yeah, check it out. It's a cool listen, man. It's 3 hours long. It's on YouTube.
I'll have to listen to that. Cool. Well, let's get this wrapped up.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
No, hey, dude, I love these conversations. They're good. But we are sitting at about 9:40. Been about an hour 40. We had a very good episode. So, like I said, full circle. Trump, what the hell are you doing having a dinner with Nick Fuentes? You too, yay. I mean, this is just kind of showing your colors. And anybody who supports him at this point, knowing that he's sat down with a white nationalist or a racist, a guy like this stature, if he doesn't denounce that dinner, something's wrong.
Anything that makes a good ad.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
Yeah, if nothing else. So, With all that being said, thank you all for joining us for the for 103rd episode of The Fact Is, man. This was a good one, talking about the CCP and everything else happening around the world. But
we hit a good array of topics tonight.
We did. We had a good, nice different variety of topics. It was very fun, very enjoyable. Thank you all. Like I said, hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving. Got to spend time with your families, because of course that's the most important thing. Make sure you're with your family, and not even if you don't consider yourself having close family, or family not around, friends, people you consider your family, whoever. It's always good to have a nice tight circle. So, of friendship. So. With that being said, thank you all for joining us for the 103rd episode. The one thing we ask for you all here is to make sure that you follow us on all of our socials, share and like everything that we do. We're not asking for monetary value, but we are asking for the ability to get our names out there and to reach more people. Because what we want to do here is we want to have people debate and talk. We want to have conversations, things that we used to be able to do before the internet. And with that being said, we have more people that we believe have things in common than we don't. We just need to come together and have those kind of conversations. So make sure you share this podcast with not only those you love, but with those that you disagree with, and those that you can have conversations with politically. But that is the extent of my closing. Please make sure you all follow us on all of our socials that are listed everywhere. Subscribe. And with that being said, do you all have any other closing thoughts? Subscribe!
World's crazy, man.
World's crazy.
Hey, there was a quote from a once famous country singer. Said, "God is great, beer is good, and people are crazy." Words to live by.
Isn't that factual? Oh, man, that's beautiful. All right, well, with that being said, thank you all for coming to the 103rd episode of The Fact Is podcast. We will see you all for next week's episode, 104, at Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We were your host, Nate Moses.
And I'm Ryan Mays. And guess what? You don't have to go home, but you can stay here.
And Stuart, thank you so much for doing what you do. We will see you all next week. Thank you again.